Hey everyone, this is Martin. This is part 12 or 13, I think, of the OpenGL C++ FPS devlog. Quick video. I always say it's quick, probably isn't going to be quick, probably going to be half an hour, but I thought I'd do one anyway. It's kind of late and I've not done any in a few days, but the last thing that I did was sort of a refactor of the event system, event bus. I thought I'd share that because it was a good sort of re-architecture move, I think. Maybe not the perfect design, but after thinking about the original design that I had of where things lived, moving it to where I did made more sense, and it should hopefully be a lot more scalable and lead to less confusion as I build this out. So what I had before here was basically the event bus. If you watch the last video, living inside of the client code over here. So I think I might have had it under scripts, events, game event. Yeah, it was under here. It was under the events one. So I'll try and maybe do a little bit of a sketch of this. I've not really done a sketch on these videos before, but I'll see if I can do this, and I'll just write down. So it's client code over here. So this is me using a mouse. So you have it's horrible. Oh my gosh. I'll just put C for client code anyway. And within that we had the event bus here. I'll just try and write EB. Oh my gosh, I really need a, what do you call it, like a tablet stylus pen thing. The event bus here, okay. And then what I also had down here under the client code was the, what was it now? It was the events as well, okay. So I'll just put EVTS. Oh my goodness me. I hope you guys can follow along with this. I really should have practiced it before, but hey, it's late. It's all good. This is just a devlog. This looks like Chinese characters. So this is the client code. We had the event bus.h over here, and we also had the events.h as well, which contain the events for the game. What you'd have within the client code as well is, let's say we had in the exact example that we did have, is we had the exit door. So I'm just going to draw a door over here. I tried to anyway. Let's try and draw a door. Hey, there you go. There's a little handle. And when the player touched the door, I'm going to try and draw a little stick man as well. Yeah, there we go. So when he touched the door, what we had was an event fired from this exit door component, which lived on the door game object, would then dispatch. It wouldn't dispatch, but it would publish the event to the event bus, and then from there, any other systems. So, for example, I think, what was it? The one that was listening to it. It was the main level component would then pop up by listening to that event, and then it would show the I think it's the back to menu and also the continue buttons here. So that would, boom, fire it over there. Okay, so my goodness, this is a horrible diagram. You can see that I'm not good at sketching at all. All I've done in this latest update is, opposed to having the event bus and events only live in the client code, I've now moved them onto the engine code, so that event bus and the events themselves can all handle both the client specific events and also the engine specific events through the single event bus. So if I just try it roughly, sketch this out again. So we've basically got, in this case, we've got the event system, event. Oh my gosh, this is so horrible. I really should have practiced this. I'm sorry, guys. You got event system.h, which contains a reference to the event bus, and again, we'll just put this down here because this all lives inside of the in the engine code now. EVT. I'm just going to call this EVT-B so that you don't have to suffer going through my horrible writing here. I could just show this in the code, but I thought in Visual Studio, but I thought I'd give a little bit of a demo, and yeah, anyway, we'll see. Anyway, so event system.h has a reference to event system.h. There you go. Has a reference to the event bus.h. It also has the other thing within here as well, within the engine side, is the engine events. So I'll just call this ENG if I can do it. Oh my goodness me, this is painful. I don't think it's helping that the screen is currently recording, and so it's just slowing everything down. Again, this is a super potato laptop, it really is. So it's got a reference to the engine events.h as well. Okay, so that's all in there. This event system.h is then available to the client code. So if we just get rid of these here, so this is the event bus is no longer down here. But what we can do is we've got engine events which contain events for the engine, so things like on mouse down currently. I could also add in there on update or on render, so that I can do things like timing, for example. If I can do like an on update, you know, CPU side, how long did that take? Or I can do a frame rate calculator, whatever. Or if I have like on render, then I can include like a separate class just to track the time difference between when on render was called. And all it would need to do is just hook up to this event, and then from the main game loop that would call the on render events, as opposed to having a direct call from the main game loop to the profile and trackers, you know, to the calculations of like on render, the classes that handle that. So, but the good thing is here as well is, so we've got this again, this on door touched event. What that does instead of going through the client code here is it goes through the engine event system.h. Okay, that is then passed down to the referenced event bus, which then can be subscribed by any other object. In this case, we've given the example here of the menu pop-up when the door is actually touched, and then that is subscribed to that event and then passed down as an event when that thing actually happens. So the long story short of all of my rambling and all of my sketches here is the fact that all that's happened is I've just refactored a little bit to move event bus into the engine code so that it can handle both engine events and client events through a single event system. Now, I could have just done this within Visual Studio, actually just showed you instead, hey, so why not? I probably would have been a little bit easier and a little less painful for you guys. But so what we've got here is within source, this is engine source here, as you can see. All we've done is shifted the event bus that was down here up into source, up into the engine source, sorry. So there's the event bus. Okay, this is the same as it was before. This is the one that I talked about in the last video. And event system.h, which is the kind of the main, I suppose, holder container of this entire event system, as the name says, contains a reference, has an instance of this event bus system, which is global, and that is compiled through this C++. It's what do we call it? A translation unit. So this is the only place where it exists within this single translation unit, and it is global. It's just got a namespace around it, but that's globally accessible. What it also has, if I go to events, there we go. So engine events.h. So this is what I've done as the sort of slight refactor where, or slight addition where I wanted to add an on-key pressed event, which is an engine event. Again, reference through event system.h because there it is, it's been included. And then this just houses the event bus.h as well. So I'll give you an example of where this is being hooked up as well. So if I go to, where was it now? Actually, I could probably find it over here. Input manager.cpp. There we go. So within input managers.cpp, which lives inside of the engine over here, Makes sense. It's the input manager. It's game agnostic. Any game would want to handle input, and so that's why it's there. Defining the on key pressed event, so we have to include the event system.h, and since event system.h also includes the engine events, that's why we've got access to this on key pressed. We just define the event, what type of key was pressed, or the key code, which is an integer, whether it was pressed or not, and then we publish the event. Boom. So again, G event bus is that globally accessible event bus instance here that we've got compiled within this C++ file. The publish, which I've already shown last time, but kind of makes sense. It's publishing an event, and then all the listeners that have subscribed to this event down here get the call back to say, hey, this event happened. So in the case of this on key pressed, if I check, I think it was accessed within the same class that we had again before, main level component. So main level component is down here within the client code. So this is the source here. If I just collapse these a little bit, there we go. Engine, this really should be named differently, as in like client code or whatever. Anyway, but at the beginning of this client code component that lives on the game object, we're saying, hey, I want to know about handle key pressed. So scripts events, where is it now? I think if I go one up, oh yes, including an eng.h. So eng.h has the reference for the engine system, not engine system, sorry, for the event system. There you go. So that's where it's been included. Eng.h has been included there. We're saying, hey, I want a callback of handle key press. So let me just go forward, everybody. There. Go to definition. And within here, we're just checking what key it is. So for me, this feels clean. I like it. I like the idea of event-driven architecture, of loose coupling. Now, it is harder to debug what is going on, but you can help that with some logging, of course, and also, I guess if you define things correctly, or you can add like more events to make it clear on what's happening. But it is a little bit harder to see what the sequence of events are. That's for sure. But anyway, the handle key pressed, we're subscribing to that so that when it does indeed happen in the input manager here, boom, goes through the event bus and then over to the main level component, and then it handles the key press. The change that was in this most recent commit is, you can see here we were polling for the key press before, so you can see this is in the update call from the main game loop every single frame, and then we're getting input manager is key pressed, and we're just checking, hey, is it pressed, is it pressed, is it pressed every single frame. In this way, we're just handling the key pressed. I like to have the naming convention of on something event being the event itself, so here on key pressed, and then the thing that's subscribed, the handler, having a prefix of handle, so in this case handle key pressed, and then from inside of there we do the custom functionality that we want for this specific object. The reason why I separate this out as well is because you can see here that I've got handle player touch door event also calls this show menu pop-up. So I can call it from both this handle player touched exit door and handle key pressed. I suppose you could do it from both here. You could just put the show pop-up menu, show menu pop-up, but again, I prefer this convention so that when I read it, I can say, exactly, I know what this is. This is something that is handling an event. So that's why I've named it that way. The other example I was going to give, because this was an example of, if I go to source again, this was an example of an event that happens within the engine, but an example that happens within the client code I'll show you. So I just go to engine events just to elaborate on there. So again, engine events contains the on key press. This is just going to be a list of engine events down here. Maybe not the best architecture in the world, but it works for what I'm doing right now. So that's engine events, and if I go down to client code, game events, boom. So there we go. This is specifically the game events. I don't know why I've got eng.h there. I don't think that needs to be included. Don't think it is necessary. I could be wrong. But this is just used in other parts of the code. In fact, I'll just save that, and I can undo it. I've not got any other commits in this. I've got a clean Git slate, so I can always undo that very easily. So this is the game events here. On player touch door event, again, we saw this in the main level component at the top here. So this is handle player touched exit event, or on player touched exit door event. And again, it's just being handled by this handle player touched exit door. But this specific event type is a game client one. It's game events, it's not engine events. So that was the refactor. Sorry, long story short of me rambling and sketching, and it's late, but that's what happened. That was the refactor that I did. I think it's clean. Everything is going to be pumped through this event bus, this event system, on both the client side and the engine side, and both sides can hook up to those events. Now, you wouldn't have the engine listening to on player touched exit door event, and you wouldn't go that direction. You would have the client listening to engine events, but not the other way. So pretty sure that's not going to happen, but we'll see. Hopefully you can see this okay. It's not laggy as hell, but on the left side here, if I just show you what the login of what I've got, the key pressed event. So if I press up, there you go, I'm publishing the event. I'll move this over just slightly. Sorry about that. There you go. There you go, on key pressed event. Boom, boom, boom. And then if I touch the door as well, this was so laggy last time. Oh, that's why. Oh, no, it does work. I don't know why that's so laggy. It's probably because of the capture. But there you go, event on player touch door event as well. So I might have to have some logging around what's listening to it. Back to menu is also another one that's being listened to by the scene manager, if I remember correctly. That button, on back to menu button. And again, so the whole thing should, in terms of button clicks, showing pop-ups, player interaction, stuff getting bumped into like this, should be able to go through the event system pretty much if we're trying to send signals from one component to another. Let's see. It will needs refinement. I'm sure I'll find ways that it needs to be improved. Like, for example, if I need to do some kind of dispatch or spreading events across a frame. This isn't a complex game, and it won't be one, so this would probably just suffice just fine. It's on a single thread as well, so it's blocking and it gets immediately called. The event gets immediately handled as soon as it's called. There's no waiting to the end of the frame or anything like that. Again, might be fine for this use case. This isn't a general purpose engine, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, enough of my ramble. I'm going to bed, everyone. But hope you enjoyed it. Any questions? Yeah, just pop them in the comments below. Cheers.